Rupali ma'am,
Hi.
welcome. Hi. What a lovely, lovely
Hi.
moment this is. We're meeting after so long, and it's such a great
Yeah,
occasion. So lovely to see you, ma'am, after so long.
wonderful. And we're going to meet over a job that we've been doing, a work that we've been doing that has been really, really very deeply, embracing us also and inclusive. It's not as if you're just editing a book. We are part of that book. We're part of what the book says.
Absolutely. I cannot believe that this dream project has actually taken shape, and we've actually sort of sat down and done all this work. I mean, it's been such a lovely experience collaborating with you and doing all this together, especially since we have the Delhi University connection also, I think.
Yes, the fact that I taught in the university, you studied there, and Dr. Swati Pal, who's written the foreword, she's the principal of Janki Devi Memorial College. And there are other many well-known people from the university, and this is a centenary year ending of the university, and it makes us feel very proud. So that is part of the thing, but that's not why we started it. If you remember, Anita, it was
Hmm.
one winter night, January, we were, you know, chatting a bit on the chat thing, and I suddenly felt, how is it that a young girl like you living in Dubai, and my daughter, she lives in the United States, far away from home, and there's a longing for home. So I said, shall we bring out something, work on getting people living in the, all over the world who have left their homes, not just India, but other parts of the world also to immigrate and how they feel. And then you said, no, let's go beyond that. Let's do something more than that, not just this. So, what was it that came to your mind? You know, what is it that you made it so much wider than what I had thought?
The thing is, when you mentioned, when we were talking that night and discussing all this Delhi University and all, it brought back so many memories. I could, it all felt like yesterday. Like, I was a student there and I was studying in St. Stephen's, and the stuff that I used to do with my friends. So then I realized that there was a whole lot of nostalgia. There was a you know, whole set of emotions associated with it. So then I realized that today all we have, or life is so hectic and life is so fast paced and life is so lonely at times, that all we have is that hope, are those memories, and that, those emotions to cling on to.
Yes,
So that sort of hit
truly.
me, and I began to think that how lonely are we today in this modern era. I mean, particularly post the pandemic also, how lonely are we don't, I mean, okay, I'm outside India, I'm outside my home country, I'm living here in this beautiful place. However, there are a lot of people who are living where they are, or where they in their home countries, in their home states, and still and are still lonely. You know, I mean, because that's how life is today. I
Yes,
mean,
and I think that these 3 years of, when the pandemic was on, these more than 3 years, you couldn't even go and meet people. Suddenly it was a different world altogether. So I think we've inherited another world, and in that world we don't seem to totally fit in. And there's
absolutely,
a sense of there's an angst, there's a sorrow, there's a sense of loss, you know,
absolutely,
and of loss of so many things. In real life, the loss of friends and their children, or
yes,
some member of the family because of COVID, and also a sense of loss of a world that we knew, where you could just
exactly,
freely move around.
exactly. Which is what
You
I was
could take
talking
a
about.
flight home,
Which is what I
and
was
you
talking
missed your
about. College,
parents.
school
Yeah,
days, parents, friends. That camaraderie, that warmth, that's lost. That's gone forever.
yeah.
And like, we're all floating in this world, which is pretty. I mean, none of us. I mean, if it comes to that, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know why we're living the way we do. We don't know, what's going to happen tomorrow. We're just rushing to do what we want to do today. So it's kind of, it's a mad, mad
Yeah,
world.
even bringing out the book, you suddenly feel, why am I doing this? What is it going to be of any
Completely,
use to? And
completely.
yet, the response was so beautiful. You know,
Absolutely.
I wrote to people. I didn't, except for one or two, were really busy with other things that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was so keen to talk about things, and it was so touching that they were able. And also, then I said, okay, so we have created a space where people are, so we are being useful. Otherwise, the
Absolutely.
sense of uselessness has in
Absolutely.
some way come in.
And
Everything
angst,
seems,
that's why we so
yeah.
uh, aptly put together angst. That's the only word that describes the essence of modern day living. I mean, like, nobody knows what they're doing. They're also vulnerable. We're also lonely. We're also identity less at the end of the day.
Yeah, you've done the cover, and I tell you, it's one of the most poignant covers that I've come across. It's how do you think of it? The cover itself makes you feel a certain kind of loneliness and homelessness, a sense of loss. So many things come into it.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I felt that everything now, since we zeroed in on the topic and identified the topic as angst, I wanted that everything we do should revolve around that theme. It doesn't make sense to, sort of have a cover, or to select a cover that has, like, say, bright colors and seven, colors of the rainbow and a kaleidoscope of. No, it doesn't, because I mean, what you're talking of is angst, and that's an emotion that has so many things to it. So I wanted,
Yeah,
I particularly for one wanted a cover that is, that sort of represents the bleakness, or the loss of identity, or that people. And I am
tremendous.
so
Yes.
happy that a lot of people, they wanted to actually contribute. I mean, even without our asking for it, or even without, a lot of people were interested in the concept, and that just goes to show that it resonates with so many of them.
Yes. No, I think, we have been able to make some good voices coming out. I think that's very beautiful about the poem. That it is not just
That's beautiful
something
about
that's,
that.
yeah. Did you
Yeah,
notice that? Did you notice that the
I did.
poems
I
are
did.
not
Because,
only about people, you know?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, and I think that's beautiful about the human mind also. I mean, we go through a lot of suffering. It changes us. We are no longer who we are or who we were. Uh, but in the middle of it all, we still remain positive, and we still remain hopeful. That things will change, that things will become better.
yeah,
Tomorrow will be the day, a brighter day. So I think that's what keeps us all going. I mean, in the middle of all this angst, also there is that hope, and that's what keeps us all going. And
yes,
there's that absolute belief that things will change. Tomorrow when I wake up, the world will be different, or I will be different, and things will be, uh,
very good.
different. And
Yeah,
that's
today, when I put up the cover of the book on my Facebook page, I was so touched with the kind of response, genuine. You could feel the genuineness of the response that was coming. People really who have contributed, and even those who have not contributed said, "Oh, this resonates with me. I can relate to this." And that was so nice. I felt so good. And I felt that, okay, this book will be of value, some kind of
absolutely.
value it will bring to.
Absolutely. And I believe that every book that we write, or that we contribute, especially since we're all we're all from a literature background and English background. I believe that everything that we do should have some value for people, if not for everyone,
Yeah,
at least for some people, at least for people around us, uh, our immediate surroundings. It should have some value. That's something I believe in. So I mean, I'm glad we decided to go ahead with this, because now, see, we're realizing that it resonates with so many people. I mean,
maybe we bring out another one, bring out a sequel to this, so
possibly
that
because a
more
lot.
people can contribute.
Absolutely, and because I am also getting a lot of inquiries and a lot of interest and traction, about this book, and a lot of people want to contribute. They're all saying, "Look, I want to express myself. I want to just bring out all that loneliness in me. I just want to write about it and talk about it and just get it out of me. That
Yeah,
feeling of expression
exactly.
and release. So I think maybe,
But before this book, I've edited books with others also. But one of the most beautiful things that I have felt is that neither the age, for example, you and I, you're like my kid, and we're able to work together and we hardly get to even talk to each other because you're traveling, you're a journalist, you're all over the world, and I can barely. But when I do, I'm just, I'm sending you all the poems that are coming in. The people are writing. I'm sending it across to you, and we're making a list. And there is no, there's no required. It's as if you're doing it together with a purpose. There's something that has been moving us. It's very
Absolutely.
difficult to
And,
put
and
my
you're
finger
you're an
on it.
absolute sweetheart to work with, because my crazy schedule, sometimes I tell you something, I'll tell you, ma'am, we'll do this today, and then last minute I have to opt out of it because I'm like, ma'am, something has come up, I have to do this, I have to do that. And you're very sweet about it. No worries, no worries, we'll do it tomorrow. Let me know when
Yeah,
you.
because yes, why should we?
No, there
You
are a lot
know,
of people who are very difficult to work with. They'll say, no, I want it now, I want it now, I want this. But you're such an absolute
oh
delight
no,
to work
no.
with. It was like, so
Thank you
easy.
so much.
So
Thank you so much.
that is so
And
sweet.
it's this. I had a wonderful experience this morning. I received a mail from a former student of ours, Dr. Lopa Basu, who's teaching she's a full-time professor in the United States, and they're bringing out a book on South Asian women and trauma. So I had sent her two poems, and you never know whether it's always peer reviewed, whether your poems will be taken in. But when I got a letter from somebody I had taught saying that your poems have been selected, I had this huge emotional feeling, which, working with you also, because you studied at St. Stephen, and I taught at Sri Venkateshwar College, so, but we were in the same university. And,
Yes.
so you're a student of the university. For me, that with a huge bonding. And I think we are a lesson in that bonding. More people can do what we are doing, work across the globe, and
Nothing
work
is a
very
barrier.
peacefully.
Nothing is
And
a
work very
barrier.
peacefully.
Distance is not a barrier. Age is not a barrier. Communication is not a barrier. Nothing is a barrier. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's like we're
And
sitting.
then just because you're a young person didn't mean that I could just take in somebody. I respected the fact that you were the co-editor. And if you remember, I would always tell you that should I take this in? It's getting late. Should I do this? And if you said yes, then I did it. So if I would always tell somebody, let me consult my co-editor. If she says yes, then I can go ahead and do this
How
for you.
sweet of you.
You
And
know?
I also remember,
Yeah.
every little thing I would ask you. I'd be like, let me ask ma'am this. Let me ask her if she's okay with this. Let me ask her if this works or that works. Or let it go this way. Should I do this? Should I do that? So
Yeah.
it was seamless. I just loved the whole experience, and I just loved the idea of being able to
Yeah.
reach
Truly,
out to
truly.
people
And
and
we must really thank, because there's no anthology without our poets. I must thank them. They've been very busy with people. They're also traveling, writing.
absolutely,
They write
absolutely.
much more than I do, and I hardly write, and they write so much. And still, they were so sweet to write the poems, send them on time, agree to do something. If they'd forgotten their bio, they sent it again. If they had to shorten it, they did it, and it was wonderful. And I really want to thank all the contributors, that
Absolutely. I mean,
this
they
is
all
not
deserve
possible.
much praise. It wasn't possible. It wouldn't have been possible without them. We can't just fill the book with our stuff. I mean, like it wouldn't have been, just wouldn't have been
Yeah.
possible.
So
All of them are
yeah.
gems in their own right. I mean, like
So
they've all.
we'll take how much time will we take now more, now that we are quite almost.
We should be done. We should be done pretty quickly, and I'm sure that everyone is waiting for this book. You will not believe the kind of responses that I've got for this. So everyone's waiting for this. So we're gonna like sort of uh, everyone's. I mean, from what I've been told, I mean, they're rushing through this. We'll have it ready as quickly as possible, and then we'll all be able to sort of,
Yeah, and I
enjoy
would
the, you
really
know,
request all our poets to, you know, uh, in their own way promote their book. And it is our book. It's not
absolutely
Anita and my book. It is our book.
our book.
And so wherever you are placed, in whichever part of the world, we've got poets from all over the world.
Oh
You
yes,
know,
yes.
from Dubai, from Bahrain, from Canada, from UK, many parts of the United States, many, of course, many parts of India. and it's a remarkable book. I mean, even I'm,
And
as I said, I'm myself very impressed.
absolutely, absolutely. I cannot believe that we brought out something like this. And I must also thank Delhi University for, sort of for the whole, for setting the whole scene and for sort of letting us, or for molding us this way, and for letting us be who we are. Today, I think we're both here because of Delhi University. So I think I would
Yes,
like
I
to
think so. Yes,
especially thank Delhi
definitely.
University
Thank the
for
university.
thank the
Yeah.
university. It's been a fabulous university, and I've had some of my best years there. So, you know, amazing
You're a very
experience.
bright person, Anita. You're very brilliant. You know, you've written the way you wrote the concept paper, the way you managed to mold it into something bigger than I had thought of, and more than just people living in various parts of the world and missing their homeland, but it became something so personal and intimate, that it touched everybody's soul. It's touched everybody's soul.
I'm so glad I was able to do that. I'm so glad I've been able to work with you on that. Ma'am, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thanks
Let's
a lot,
let's,
Anita.
let's wait for the book, and once the book hits the stands, I'm sure the reception will be more, sort of overwhelming, and it'll bring in a lot
Yes,
more
we'll
smile.
have readings. We'll have readings from the book. We'll try and
Absolutely,
do as much as we can, you know,
absolutely,
and we
absolutely,
definitely need the support of all our poets, wherever they are, in whatever capacity they are, to help us put the book across that more people read it.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
yeah,